GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show where we simplify everything like Trump simplifies, well, everything. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton, and today we are trying something new. Every Wednesday, the Milk Road Pro research team meets to talk about crypto, markets, investments, macro. Well, today, you and we are crashing that meeting and giving you the alpha that comes straight from the pro team. We're going to talk about Solana. Everyone is talking about Trump meme coin, but all the pro team is looking at is the impact on Solana. We're going to dive into that. Ethereum is in a full civil war. The Ethereum Foundation is in chaos. Vitalik has stepped in. This crisis is happening in public on crypto Twitter. We're going to bring you guys up to speed on everything that's happening there, what you need to know, and what it means for Ethereum long term. It's naturally going to lead to the question of Sol versus ETH. Should you hold both? Which one is the better investment in this cycle? And then we're going to talk about the Trump effect. We've been talking about it all week with Trump's inauguration on Monday. His effect really started over the weekend with his meme coin, but we are seeing some major things happening, not necessarily announcements from Trump. We're going to touch on a few things that he's done, but previously sidelined institutions are starting to jump into crypto in a meaningful way. And a consumer app has absolutely blown up, over 400,000 new users on chain in a 24-hour period. We're going to tell you what that app is and what you need to know. Before we jump in and hear from the boys, let's take a minute to hear from our sponsors who make this show possible. Meet Odos, the DeFi aggregator that makes your token swap smarter, faster, and a whole lot easier. Tired of trading like it's 2019? Odos finds the best prices for your swaps across 900 liquidity sources and 14 blockchains, so you always get more bang for your crypto buck. Whether you're swapping, setting a limit order, or just avoiding gas fees like the plague, Odos has you covered. It's like having a genius trader in your pocket, minus the coffee addiction. Join 3 million wallets already using Odos to power over 6 billion in monthly trades. Start making smarter swaps today at milkroad.com/Odos. Gentlemen, welcome to the Milk Road Show.
What's going on?
PM guys.
Maybe I should say thanks for having me in your pro research meeting.
Yeah.
So
Welcome to the Milk Road Pro research meeting.
There you go.
Jay and family.
Yeah. Thanks. Everybody's great. Everybody's great to be here. So for those who don't know, we got Kyle here. I think everybody listening or watching knows Kyle, co-owner of Milk Road and head of Milk Road Pro Research. Then we have Martin as well. He's Milk Road Pro analyst. He writes most of the Milk Road Pro reports. So if you guys are reading those reports on a weekly basis, he's the writer behind those. He also leads the Milk Road Pro portfolio. And then we have Adrian. He's our new research analyst, and he's focused on the frontier of crypto and AI. And he's going to manage our new token center, which actually launches tomorrow. So we'll tell you guys more about that tomorrow. But basically, that's a place where we will give ratings on the tokens that our Milk Road Pro community is asking the most about. All right, let's jump in. Let's not waste any time. I'm excited to be in this research meeting. I know topic number one is all about Solana and what the impact of Trump, specifically Trump meme coin, has been on Solana.
Yeah, generally the way that these meetings work for those listening is we sort of just shoot the shit on whatever's happening in crypto in that moment. It's not very structured. We just kind of figure out what's important. What do we need to know for our bags? And do we make any decisions around our portfolio, or do we need to write any pro reports because something really big is happening, et cetera? Obviously, the biggest thing that happened, I think, this week was the Trump token last weekend, which I don't think we need to talk much about because there's been so much about that already in the newsletter, probably on the podcast, on Twitter, everywhere. But I think the underlying big thing that came from this was just what's happened on Solana. And I think maybe we can just kind of go through what we see here, if there's anything kind of out of the ordinary. So obviously, the Trump token went up to like, what was it, 70 billion last weekend, which was crazy, or 80 billion FTV.
FTV, 70, 80 billion
yeah.
FTV. Market cap was like 15 billion, I think was.
Yeah. It's back down like a lot more than that now. But when we look at what's happened, and I can just share a screen real quick, because I think this is what we're all going to kind of be looking at. There was two like really big things that stood out here. And actually, let me go to the financial side first. So the big thing on Solana is it printed a lot of money over the last few days, and actually still is hanging up there fairly high. But in terms of REV, which is a metric that we look at, so real economic value, this is basically the fees, the transaction fees plus tips, et cetera. an MEV, it was double the all-time high, the previous all-time high, and it did it twice over the weekend, which is pretty wild. It's still looking pretty high. So those numbers are pretty big. And then the only other thing that I think came from it, other than meme coins having a bit of a moment, was the stablecoin supply went from about 6 billion all the way up to today, almost 10 billion. And I remember we wrote a pro report not too long ago, basically just saying like the one metric that Solana continues to lack on is it's not getting a lot of stable coins. And for whatever reason, in like 5 days, this thing is not doubled, but pretty close. So anything you guys can sort of like why do you guys think this is happening? Do you think this is a bullish thing? Is there more to this? Or like, what do you guys think?
Typically, stablecoin supply, if it increases, it's a very good thing for a chain because we have more DeFi activity, more people providing liquidity. We saw it with Trump, especially. The biggest pool was on Meteora with USDC and Trump. It made the most volume. So that might be one explanation that basically the Trump team and a lot of need from the DEXs led to this stablecoin increase.
Yeah, most of the supply came from USDC. And I wonder, was it just the fact that Trump token got so big that the trading pairs of Trump and the stablecoin, USDC or whatever, in the DEXs, just there wasn't enough stablecoins that they actually had to mint like basically billions of dollars more just to manage the volume of Trump? I think that's what happened. I don't know. What do you guys, is that it? Or was there another reason that the stablecoin supply went up so much?
Yeah, I think the market makers saw an opportunity to mint more because of the huge demand and influx of like thousands of new people because of Trump. So they just minted more. Yeah, so the market makers saw the opportunity to kind of mint more stable coins, and so they did. And like in general, there are talks on Twitter whether Trump launching meme coin, whether it's positive for Solana or not. And like just looking on the numbers, you can see that it brought a ton of fees for Solana and also like the attention and awareness of media and everything, right? But also, like the most important part for blockchains is onboarding and getting new people, acquire new people. And
Yeah.
like that's what this Trump meme coin did pretty well. It brought a lot of new people. And like I know it's speculation. Some people will make money, some people will not, but that's part of the game. The people should be aware of it. But like overall, I think it's net positive that it's happening because crypto gets more attention. Some people will stay, some will not. But the wealth effects on Solana will also play a like other roles in other ecosystem. So the people making money on Sol will now maybe start lending or I don't know, do something on Solana. So
That is the big question is this just a blip in the charts and does it all go back down to normal? Like did the stable coins end up going down from here because the flows go somewhere else? The REV is already coming back down, but I mean, that was kind of obvious that we were going to see fees go back down. We're not having as much activities out of the weekend. So the question is, does this ignite the trend forward on Solana, which I mean has already been up and to the right, I would say, or was this kind of just a quick blip and we'll just have to see? I would imagine like it definitely brought, from everything I see, it brought a lot of new people and some new capital. I think Adrian, you were talking about some app where you can like move fiat into meme coins directly on Solana, and it was like the number one downloaded app. And so like there was definitely a bunch of new people that came in, and I think there was over 1 million holders in total of this token. Currently, it's sitting at like 800,000. So it's definitely brought new users. It depends on what are these users. I think the one thing with Solana we've always talked about is like the users that come on Solana that trade meme coins, they don't do much else, right? They just trade meme coins. It's like they just punt these tokens and they don't use DeFi. And that's why there hasn't been a lot of stablecoin activity. And the DeFi like world in Solana hasn't really grown like it has on Ethereum and even like Base, Arbitrum, et cetera. And so the question is, what do these users do? Now, any user is a good user, in my opinion, as long as they're generating fees, which obviously they did over the weekend. The question is do they stick around? Do they stay on chain? Or was this a one-time, like one-off thing? I have no idea, but that's what we kind of have to see over the next little bit here, I think.
Yeah, but it's a very healthy development. And if you can show my screen, if you compare here these holders of Trump on the left side with about 800K, with very established memes on Solana, for example, with the dog with hat, or Pepe on Ethereum, we see that this was a huge event. 800K holders on one weekend, that's just massive.
It is, it's huge. The question is, what do they do with the 80% of the supply? So for those of you that don't know, 20% of the supply was released. That's what everyone's betting on. 80%. So when we say there's an 80 billion FTV, but it was only, 20 billion market cap or whatever, that's because 80% of it just sits in a wallet that Trump or the affiliate, whoever launched this for Trump, they just own that. And there's, Trump has not mentioned anything. The team has not mentioned anything. Usually in crypto, when someone launches something, they explain their supply. Like, why do they do it that way? What are they going to use it for? Is it for airdrops? Is it for, grants? Is it for whatever? And they just said nothing. And in fact, Trump, since he's been in his presidency, has actually also said nothing about crypto in general, which is a little bit weird. He was asked about the token. He said, I don't really know much about it. Pretty sure it went quite well. And that was kind of it. They said, you've made billions. And he goes, that's peanuts. So he didn't really seem to say much. It's a little weird. The team hasn't said anything. So that is a bit of like a risk in case anyone's thinking about investing in Trump. None of us did, as far as I know. Adrian, I think, had some DeFi play where he was, what were you doing? How did you made a bunch of money off of Trump, but you didn't actually invest in it. What was that?
I bought spot and shorted on a perpetual futures stacks and basically earned on the funding rate.
Right. And it gave like 200% APY or something for a couple
For
days.
a time, but not very long.
Which is pretty sweet. So none of us bought it. And then this risk of like the 80% is just, I want to know what he's going to do with it or what the plan is, because it just makes no sense. There's billions of dollars just sitting there that they could dump at any point. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there.
We will see after the first release of tokens in 3 months.
Right. I guess there's a scheduled release and we don't know what that release is for. Some people are like, oh, he's going to buy Greenland with it. Like, that seems a bit ridiculous, but that'd be quite hilarious. I mean, price action in Solana, though, obviously did really well when that happened. It just like went nuts over the weekend. Come back down a little bit now, but still holding pretty strong. Right at its like previous all-time highs at 255 today. I see this thing we've always been bullish in Solana. It's our biggest holding in our portfolio. I think this thing's just going to continue to climb and do extremely well. So anything else on Solana, guys?
Yeah, we could talk about Moonshot. You just mentioned it.
Yeah.
Fits quite well here.
Yeah. What's Moonshot?
What's Moonshot?
Yeah, we just talked about it, about 400K new people on-chain in just 24 hours. I had to do a little bit of research on Moonshot. There wasn't a lot of info actually on the web, but it's an American company based in Miami, Florida. I used it before I heard about the Trump hype, and it's basically just do your KYC and buy meme coins on Solana with Apple Pay or with Google Pay. So extremely easy onboarding ramp to meme coins, but only Solana and meme coins, so not for the serious investors.
Solana has done a good job at catering to the degen market. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. If you look at the way the world's going, I mean, people are punting 12 piece parlays all day in sports, and like meme coins is your other way to like make these big gambles and these big bets. The kids love it. And when I say kids, I don't mean like kids. I mean like the younger generation, Gen Zs, let's call it. And so like Solana's really nailing that. The question for me for like long-term sustainability, because I know we're about to get into Ethereum after this, is like, can it build the DeFi? Can it start to build the things that we need to like reinvent the financial system or DePIN and all these other things, AI stuff? Can it be the home for that? If it can, this stuff lasts forever, because the degen stuff, as important it is, and it's great. It doesn't do well in bear markets, obviously. I think that, everyone can agree on that. And so it really is a question of, can Solana use this to bootstrap? And that was always our theory of a while, was like, hey, these meme coins, like last year we talked about this, was like, it's only meme coins on Solana, right? It's like 90% of its activity, but can that bootstrap more liquidity to do more things? And I think we just saw our first big push of that. I mean, that growth in Solana stablecoins is massive. Like it was up like 3 billion or 4 billion in like 5 days. I don't think that goes anywhere. That remains, and liquidity begets liquidity, right? And so the more liquidity coming onto a chain means that we can put more liquidity on. Whales originally couldn't do so much on Solana because there wasn't enough stables, there wasn't much liquidity. But because of these things like Moonshot, that's bringing in lots of liquidity at a fast rate, it now means because there's more liquidity on there, bigger whales can come in, make bigger moves, and that just continues to proliferate. So I think this is all a really good sign for Solana, in my opinion. Martin, you were going to say something.
And also, like, the projects on Solana, they are cooking. They are just not,
Yeah.
the main attention right now because it's all about meme coins or AI. But like Camino, Jiro, Jupiter, they are all cooking. They are all building, bringing new features, new products. And like, clearly, right now, they don't get enough attention, but you can pretty much find everything you can find on Ethereum on Solana already. So they're making a huge progress. Obviously, there
Yield-bearing
is,
stablecoins, not so much.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the only one. But I think now when there will be, 10 plus bill in stablecoins there, then we will see some protocols also trying to bring yield-bearing stablecoins to Solana.
Yeah. The reason this is so important is you got to think with Trump coming in, regulation changing, institutions, like kind of our big theory and the way our portfolio is set up is like, we believe a lot of institutional capital will come on chain and actually do things in DeFi, whether it's holding yield bearing stablecoins, using things like Aave, et cetera, because they're finally going to be able to. They all want to. They just haven't been able to because of the Biden administration. Trump will likely change that. Even if you look today, his company, World Liberty Financial, or whatever that thing is, I don't know what it does, but they bought $180 something million worth of ETH, and they've staked a bunch of it in Lido. They're also, I think, using Aave. They own a bit of Aave. They own a bit of Athena. And like, this is where I kind of see institutional capital, like corporate treasuries, for example, moving on chain, is to actually like go and take loans and have yield bearing stable coins in their treasury, et cetera. They just never been able to. Our theory was always Solana's DeFi isn't big enough for any of these institutions to do that. And so we think Ethereum DeFi is set up to do really good there. And I think the market understands that, which is why Aave's done so well and some of the others. But if we keep getting this kind of growth over here in Solana, then institutions might finally be able to move some of their capital onto Solana. It's yet to be seen. Like I still think Ethereum has the edge there, Ethereum DeFi. But if we continue to see this stuff grow and we get, we're now about to surpass 10 billion in stablecoins in Solana, that's sending a big message. And I think they maybe start to move over there. But I don't know. For now, it's all ETH, in my opinion.
Do we need this? And isn't it okay to have a retail chain with Solana more gambling focused and an institutional chain, ETH?
Yeah, I just don't know how big can that go. If it's only retail capital, I don't know how big retail capital is. But I know, like, if you look at all the capital in the world, which is mainly by the institutions, we're talking trillions and trillions and trillions. How much retail capital is there, and especially how much retail capital is there that's available to invest in speculative assets? That I don't know. And so, like, obviously the big thing comes when institutional capital can get in and speculate. And so that's kind of what I want to see, the institutional capital. That's what I really want. Someday it might come to Solana. I just I haven't, especially with all the meme coin stuff. I know there's a lot of institutions that are like kind of scared to do that. But as the capital grows, capital goes where there is capital, and where it's treated best. And so if Solana can be that place, then it's going to move there. But right now, I think it's still Ethereum. I don't know if there's anything else, Solana, or do we want to jump to Ethereum, because that's been a big thing this last week.
I just want to say, I think this cycle, Solana will still attract mainly just retail, and maybe next cycle they will be able to attract institutions. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It needs some time, and you need the Lindy effect before like the big money are interested in your chain. And like one last comment here, I can see the payments still being, using Solana, because PayPal and Visa and these kind of guys, they might be fine with what Solana has to offer today, and they're going to use it.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, the stablecoin growth over the last year has just been all on Ethereum. And I was like, why is it not on Solana? Like, Solana seems like the obvious place for payments, and just nothing was growing there. And I mean, now the last couple of days that's kind of changed. So we'll see. But I tend to agree. I wonder why its growth on that has kind of chilled. Okay, let's go to Ethereum.
Before we move to ETH, the only thing I want to say was I think nobody seems to be talking about the fact that the sitting president launched a meme coin with a ridiculous unlock schedule and held back 80% of the supply. What does that mean for every other celebrity in the world in the next year? Like,
I hope
we are
it
going to
doesn't mean
see
that
so
everyone who
many
wants.
meme coins now. Like, how is this not going to start a massive meta in the next
It
year?
will.
Like, you can't, like, everybody's got to be sitting there. I mean, Hawk Tua, you're saved. Don't worry. Trump just did it, and it doesn't matter. So, like, it's all good. Like, I think I can't underscore enough. I think the impact that's going to have in the number of.
Yeah, I do think that trend happens, which is again why I'm so bullish on Solana for the rest of the cycle. Is like probably this continues, and if it's going to happen, it's going to happen on Solana, I would assume. I don't love it. I would love it if there was a different mechanism for the person or the celebrity launching the token to make money. Like right now, Trump hasn't made any money because he hasn't sold anything, thankfully. But the only way he can make money is if he sells that Trump. Now, if he could make fees on another way somehow, like kind of like, I don't know, Virtuals has some kind of system where when you launch AI agents, you can make money from how Virtuals, the protocol, makes money. So that you don't have to sell your token to make money. Like that's kind of a cool mechanism. I just like if a bunch of celebrities are going to be launching tokens and then dumping, like, because you have to make money, I can't see that being a net positive for anybody, right? And so, like, truly, I hope there's regulation on this. Like, I actually don't think this should just be a Wild West. I think there should be regulation. You shouldn't be able to do what he just did. And so I hope regulation comes along that because it just doesn't make any sense.
You mentioned earlier in the show that Trump hasn't done anything for crypto since being in office, which is mostly true. He hasn't done any executive orders. We all thought we would probably see these executive orders, but he did free Ross Albright. That happened yesterday. And the SEC did announce that they are setting up a crypto task force. So hey, maybe they'll regulate Trump meme coin and all these meme coins before they come.
I mean, you should have to, like, the way it works in the traditional world is like you can launch a token, right? I think you should be able to launch a token freely. However, there should be some rules around, like, if you're going to sell, you need to make sure you let people know ahead of time. You need to report that. Like, that's how it works in any other stock. You can't just go and sell it anytime you want. And so, like, we should have that, and so anyway, I hope that comes, but I don't know if it will. Okay, let's jump to Ethereum.
Okay, so this started with people calling for Miyaguchi. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. So she's the head of the Ethereum Foundation. People started calling for her to resign. It was Vitalik that put her in power, and she just got absolutely shredded on crypto Twitter. If you missed this is Beanie saying Ethereum Foundation is run by a high school teacher from Japan that hates competition, believes in equality of outcome over opportunity, and doesn't recognize blockchain consensus as a means of governance. Ethereum has a woke culture problem, and because of that, Solana is winning. Pretty savage what he said. So I don't know if I fully agree that he should say stuff like that about people in public. But hey, clearly leadership not doing well. That led to a bunch of ETH members sort of protesting. ETH Foundation members started to stand up and say, okay, I'm out. And they basically were rage quitting all over Twitter. Here's somebody saying they're removing their .eth. Maybe we see a turnaround at the EF. But for now, so far, I'm seeing a worrying lack of priorities. And then another one, perhaps someday those in leadership roles will realign with the community. But for now, I am out. So now we got this public debate raging on Twitter. Everybody's like, what's going on? People are calling for a wartime leader. And then Vitalik steps up. He says, okay, fine. I'm going to take over all decision making for the short term at the ETH Foundation. He says, the person deciding the new Ethereum Foundation leadership team is me. One of the goals of the ongoing reform is to give the EF a proper board, but until that happens, it's me. It's all Vitalik's world now. So, and now the debate continues. People are talking about who they think should take over, what happens next.
To be clear, no one from Ethereum Foundation has stepped down. These are not Ethereum Foundation people. The ones that Jay just showed on the screen there, these are just Twitter people. They don't do anything for Ethereum. They're not developers. They just tweet. And so, like, in my opinion, I guess I'll start off with what's going on here is like, look, Ethereum's price has gone up as well as people hoped. And so people are very irrational on Twitter. A lot of people in this industry are childish. They act very childish. They act very irrational. And so they trip out when their bags aren't going up. And they decide to go and cry and scream and quit. And that's just what these kind of people do, right? And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I don't think there's as big of a problem as people are making it out to be in the Ethereum Foundation. I mean, this is a $450 billion asset or something like that. It's all over the world. There's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of companies that work on it and build it and improve it, etc. Ethereum Foundation is just one of them. They're not who controls Ethereum, right? They are just someone that was around since the beginning. They have grants and they help to improve things and do some research, but there's many companies that do this. Consensus is another one. Coinbase with Base is another one. Optimism is another one. Like, there are many companies that are helping to build Ethereum and push it forward. It's not just Ethereum Foundation. And then I think the other side of it is like Solana has obviously had a really good run. Why? Well, it's because it was valued at next to nothing 2 years ago because of SBF. And so like, yeah, it's had a good catch up as it should. Is that because it has a wartime leader in Atoli who replies to everyone in tweets or Mert? Like, probably not. I think it's just because it's done a good job at creating good technology and getting good adoption. Maybe that's helped a bit. I'm sure it has helped. Mert kind of helped pull it out of it's like tough times. But like, does Ethereum need that? I don't know. I'm not sure that it really does. I think it just needs to keep building and keep researching and keep improving. Does it need to improve its timelines of launching its roadmap? Absolutely. But again, remember, this thing is a $450 billion asset that has hundreds of billions of dollars sitting on it. It can't just launch new products and like hope for the best like Solana can. This thing cannot go down. If it goes down, it's completely screwed. The one thing that Ethereum has going for it is it's never gone down. And so if it goes down, it loses that, right? And so like, it's a whole different beast. And I just think that these yappers on Twitter honestly just need to shut up and like go away. And it's very bullish to me that Eric Connor is leaving Ethereum or removing his .eth. I think that is maybe a bottom signal. I don't know. I don't know if it is a bottom signal. Don't really care. I just think like these kind of people just don't really help the ecosystem. So it doesn't really matter in my opinion. And then like, if you look at Vitalik, he's been tweeting a lot. Even today, he tweeted out, what did he say here? Trying to find the tweet, but he just tweeted out. He says, "No man left behind," and he's talking about the guy from Tornado Cash. He's basically, we're going to try and get him out too. He's like, Tornado Cash itself won an important case today, but Roman, he's the one that actually created it. And he's still potentially in jail or is in jail right now. And he's like, "We're not leaving you behind. You're up next. We're getting you out." And so he's like, Vitalik is not a wartime leader, and this isn't normal for him. And all of a sudden now he's changing and he's tweeting more and doing this. And like, is that a good thing? Like, I'm not sure. I'd actually rather Vitalik just continue researching, right? And writing and like doing what he does. I don't know that we need him to be like getting all angry on Twitter like Mert does. It just doesn't seem right. But like, so I don't know. It's a weird situation going on over there. Most of it is kind of just made up in my opinion. And I think what Ethereum's doing is still all good. There's still all the fundamentals, still building something that the world needs. So I'm just not as up in arms as I think everyone else, though I do think a revolt and like people getting angry usually is a good thing, right? Like, it means change will come. They get them a push in the butt, and I think they're kicking the butt. And I think that's always a good thing. Every business needs that. And so like, anytime you have to question your company and you have to change some leadership, you maybe have to like take a look at your expenses and see, are we doing this the right way? Should we change this? You got pushed to like, you get pressure to be faster in what you're doing. These are all great things. Like, we do this with our company all the time. Every few months we kind of rejig and think like, are we doing the right thing here? Do we need to fix this? Like, whatever. So I think that's always a good thing. So I'm happy that we're having this, but I also just don't think it's as big as Twitter makes it out to be. I don't know. What do you guys think?
And the discussion is primarily price driven, and you shouldn't change the fundamentals of Ethereum because a few investors are unhappy. If you want a good trade, then Solana was the solution, of course, for the last year.
Yeah.
But Ethereum is building long term.
Yeah, I also agree. I think if ETH is at 10K today, we wouldn't have this conversation.
100%.
Also, like, if we are gonna see good inflows into Ethereum ETFs, like for, I don't know, let's say 4 weeks, then all this discussion will be just, okay, never mind, guys, just all good now. Because
taking Ethereum ETFs.
Yeah, that needs to come.
Yeah, I think it will come. But anyways, my point is, me as a person who loves Ethereum, I hold Ethereum for couple years. It's like, it's a good moment to really do some house cleaning and make sure that we are all aligned, doing the same thing, the same goal. Because at some point we kind of lost track of, okay, what we are trying to do here. Is ETH money? Is it like internet computer? What is it? And yeah, I feel like we needed this moment to really like, okay, stop, sit down. Let's make sure we are all on the same boat. We know what we are all doing, what we are building towards, and like what our values are. I think this is a good thing. Probably it's going to be a bottom, and from now on, like we will see. Because right now, when there is a fear in the market, it's usually a good time to buy, right? And Ethereum is still building towards a greater goal or like more ambitious vision than anyone can imagine. It's really wanting to be the supercomputer, the internet where everything is happening. And it's like, okay, Solana, Sui, and those kind of guys, they made a better returns, but like the vision, the long-term vision is still there. We are still building towards, and the community, okay, if those people are unhappy because of the price performance, then we don't need those people. We need people who stick around, who keep improving, who contribute to Ethereum, who still believe on what we are trying to build here. And I think we are still getting a lot of new people, new builders, and this is all just a big FUD. And maybe the only thing is I would appreciate if Ethereum is better in communication, because we need someone who you can talk to or who is like interpreting what's going on. And like now with all the FUD, I can see so many people from EF suddenly going out and talking on Twitter. And that's what we want. Like we need all the people from EF going out, talk publicly, ideally, share their thoughts, what's going on. Because right now it's everything is in blind. And like if me as someone who lives and breathes crypto cannot really see what's going on and where we are, what's are the timelines, how anyone else can do it. And if you can do it, then it's really hard to buy this token because of
Well, and we need
I don't know.
somebody other than Vitalik. To me, that's the main thing here,
Yeah.
right? Like it can't Vitalik's like he's an alien. Like he's not connected to the regular humans, right? You know, the
But
guy's
why do we
signing
need-
off Milady like on these like tweets right now? Like, what are you doing, man? Like that doesn't.
Ethereum
connect.
Foundation is a research team. I don't want them on Twitter. I want them heads down, fucking coding and doing nothing but that. I don't know why people want these guys to be on Twitter. It's the last thing Vitalik should be doing. It's the last thing the Ethereum Foundation should be doing. Just go build, go ship, right? If everyone now is complaining that their roadmap isn't going to be done until 2029, and then they're also saying, but also I want you to come and communicate and be on Twitter. It's like, dude, okay, now it's going to be 2030. Maybe if you just let them go and ship, then they can have it done by 2028 or 2027. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that these guys need to be talking.
They need
Why?
somebody.
But there is. They have open Ethereum Foundation meetings every week or month or whenever they are. That anyone can go attend.
Have you ever gone to one?
No, I don't. Because I don't care. I don't want to know. It doesn't matter to me. But if people do care, people are going to cry on Twitter that they're not getting enough communication. Go attend their meetings. They're open for anyone, right? Like, why do they need to then go and put it on Twitter? That doesn't make any sense. Like, it
At
just
least
like
they
let these people
finally
go
use
ship.
their own chain now with DeFi.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
you need somebody taking the data and everything that's happening on Ethereum and simplifying it and giving ETH holders something to talk about and something to celebrate. And I know what you're saying. I know. Yeah. Well, okay. Shout out to Bankless. We'll get David and Ryan. You guys are now the official Mertz of ETH. If you guys could get more bullish more often for us all.
That's the disadvantage of decentralization. The communication is not clear, but it's censorship resistant at least.
Yeah.
So you can't have one and the other.
I don't know. All that stuff to me is just politics. It's like they just need to ship. That's actually what they need to do right now. They need to ship. We need to make blobs. Like we need to improve blobs so that the L2s can be faster, which is what Jesse wants at base. And we just need to keep getting more partnerships, more companies building on Ethereum. And like, I don't know. That's what matters to me. I don't give a shit about someone telling me what's up on Twitter. But the other thing is price action, obviously not that great on ETH. I hate to see this chart that it's dipped below. We did, just to give a little bit of alpha here, we sold a little bit of ETH. We didn't sell all of our ETH. We didn't get out of ETH. We just, we were overexposed to ETH. And so we put it into some assets that we thought may outperform here with Trump coming into office. And so long term, I think Ethereum is a great bet. I think it's one of those ones that you just hold, close your eyes, and you just forget about for a long time. But obviously, it's had a bit of struggles. And like the main thing for ETH that we've always said, and that I think people just can't really wrap their heads around, is it's all about liquidity in the ISM, right? Whenever we move into the summer phase of the business cycle, when the ISM starts to go up, meaning the business cycle is now kind of in its growth phase, which we haven't been there and we have a delay on it. Usually we would have been there according to past cycles. And so everyone's expecting that ETH and alt should outperform. But remember, we haven't really had our true alt season yet. And that's because this hasn't came. We haven't had that liquidity come into markets. And mainly it means we need the dollar to go down. And so if the dollar goes down and ETH doesn't start outperforming, then I'm like, okay, this thing's shot for this cycle. Let's, we'll see it next cycle. We'll see what happens. Macro has just been a bit slow and a bit delayed, which maybe means we have an extension of the cycle. I don't know. We'll kind of see. We'll see what happens there. But either way, still bullish. Kind of everything, Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. I think it's all going to grow here with Trump coming in, and crypto is just going to get a ton of adoption. So I'm not overly concerned, but would love to see Ethereum, obviously get some better leadership in there.
I would love to hear your guys' takes on ETH versus Sol as an investment for the rest of this cycle. Kyle, you kind of just gave your take, but Martin, Adrian.
ETH BTC looks pretty bottomed, so maybe not the worst decision to actually get into ETH if you're not holding it. No financial advice, of course. But yeah, I like both bets. Solana as the retail chain, it's faster, it's more interesting, it's more hyped. But ETH with the big money and institutional funding coming in, it's definitely also worthy. And at least we have Base on ETH. A lot of the AI agent ecosystems with virtual happening on Base. So that's the bright spot on the horizon.
Well, I think we're going to talk about Coinbase in a sec, but you go, Martin.
I feel like you need to hold both because we still don't know if integrated blockchains are better than modular blockchains. And if you believe that the next 100 million users will be brought in by, fintechs or neobanks or the existing apps people use today, then you should probably be more bullish on ETH. But if you don't believe that and you think that Solana itself is able to bring like hundreds of millions of users, then you should, have some Sol. And those are two different things. And today we can't really say who is gonna do that. And my hunch is I believe a bit more towards the Ethereum, because I think like Coinbase, Sony, Revolut, these guys, they have already hundreds of millions of users and they just need to integrate blockchain. They'll launch their own layer 2 on top of Ethereum. And that's the way how I think we are gonna onboard like next wave of people into crypto, because the blockchain part, the crypto part will be abstracted away. They will not even know that. And yet there is still the incentives for people to do it on Ethereum because they can keep the transaction fees or sequencer fees, but we don't need to go into details. Versus on Solana, it's a different story, right? Like, why not Revolut, Coinbase? Those people are not going to launch on Solana because it doesn't really provide those incentives. So, I don't know which approach is better, but I think you should have exposure to both of them because we don't know who's going to win.
This brings me to the next topic, which the thing that I think was the most bullish or the most exciting thing that happened in the last week, and I know everyone else is like, it's Trump, was what Coinbase launched, which was the ability to take loans against your Bitcoin in the Coinbase app. And while that's not that cool, because we had that all last cycle with Celsius and everyone else that blew up, what's interesting about the way that Coinbase has done this, so previously all the other apps that you maybe used last year with or last cycle, who were some of the other ones? There was like BlockFi and Celsius and Voyager, et cetera. You'd give them the Bitcoin, a centralized company, and then they would go and do things with it. They would trade it and try to make more money with it. And then they would give you yield. So like if they happened to make 8%, they would give you like 6% or whatever it was. I can't remember the numbers. But there was obviously risk that they were just giving that shit away to someone else who was then like leveraging it on whatever, punting it into Terra Luna.
They wouldn't do that, would they?
And it all blew up. And this happens in traditional finance all the time. This is one of the issues of traditional finance is like you put your money in a bank account, even just your savings, they're taking your dollars. It doesn't exist in that bank. They take it, they go do things with it. And I mean, they don't even give you any money for it anymore. They used to give you some yield. Now we don't even get that. But what's really cool about what Coinbase did here is you can put your Bitcoin in and they're actually using the chain to do this. So they have Morpho, which is a lending protocol on Base, right? Which is obviously on Ethereum. And what they do is they take your Bitcoin, they create a wallet with it, they put it into Morpho, and you get USDC back as you lend out your Bitcoin. And so it's all done on chain. You can actually track it on chain. So it's transparent. One, that's really cool. And then what I think is amazing about it is like, it's done on their own ecosystem. And so like you now are using DeFi, you are using Base, you are using Ethereum without ever actually making a wallet. All you did was continue to use the Coinbase app, the one that all the retail's on. You got to remember, most people in this world are never going to go and create a MetaMask wallet and like connect into Uniswap and swap, right? Many people, you already see it. I think Coinbase has had up to 100 million, 110 million verified users, right? Now there's only about 10 to 12 that are active on a monthly basis, but that's in the Coinbase app, not the Coinbase wallet or not on Base. That is like, I don't know, probably sub 1 million of real humans actually using it. Like it's tiny compared to the amount that will use like an app like Coinbase. Coinbase app is very similar to using like PayPal or Revolut or Robinhood, et cetera, which millions and millions and millions of real humans use every day. You don't get that on chain. But what Coinbase is doing is bringing on chain to the user. Most of crypto, what Solana is trying to do is bring the users on chain. We just saw a big kind of jump of people coming on chain to trade Trump, which is cool. Maybe a few 100,000. We're not sure how many people that was. What Base is doing is saying, hey, you guys stay where you are. You're in the app store, you're using Coinbase app, stay there and we'll bring the on-chain stuff to you. Why? Because the products are better on-chain, right? You can get better yields, it's safer, it's more transparent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that, to me, seeing what Coinbase did there, they weren't able to do that pre-Trump. Now I think what Coinbase is going to do is launch a ton of things. So a lot of things that you do on-chain, they're going to bring it into the Coinbase app. Imagine they bring, SUSDS, which is a 12.5% yield on a stablecoin. Imagine they just bring that into Coinbase. So you're just holding $1 and all of a sudden you're getting 12.5% on it. That beats everything in the entire world. No bank is ever doing that, right? No one can compete with that. So if it can start to bring more of these DeFi use cases in a way where you never actually have to create a wallet, you just do it in your normal app, that to me is game changer. That's how the adoption happens in crypto. And I think Coinbase is creating a playbook right now for one Kraken, who just launched InkChain. They're going to do the same thing. I would imagine in the next year, not only does Coinbase have Bitcoin-backed loans, they're going to launch, let's say, 5 to 10 new use cases that exist in Coinbase app that are actually done on chain. Kraken will do the same thing. And OKX will do the same thing. And then who does it? Well, probably PayPal or Robinhood or Revolut or name your fintech, neobank type thing. And I think that's the way that people actually get onboarded into using crypto. It's through these existing apps where there's existing users. And right now that playbook seems obvious on the Ethereum world because you launch your L2, you bring some apps on there, you share liquidity, and then you connect it into your app. Does that happen on Solana? I'm not sure because you don't own the transaction fees like Base does. So anyway, I think that's really exciting. I think we're going to bring crypto to the people to where they are over this year. I think it's going to happen very fast now. So that to me is the most exciting thing in crypto. I think that's how stablecoins proliferate. That's how DeFi proliferates. It's all going to be brought to the people. I don't know if you guys see that same world happening, but that's kind of how I'm imagining adoption happening, not people downloading Phantom or MetaMask.
Did you just lay out the bullish thesis for Ethereum, the
Pretty
modular?
Yeah. I mean, technically it doesn't all have to happen on Ethereum. I don't technically Coinbase or Kraken or PayPal could just integrate Jupiter, right? Or integrate Camino. I just what's the incentive for them to do that? I guess a better product for their users in their app, but you'd think they're probably going to build their own ecosystem and launch their own L2, have their own apps and do it kind of the way Base did it. Or Coinbase did it, I would think. But yet to be seen, right? This is what we'll have to kind of watch and see for this year. But if it goes the Coinbase route, Ethereum's winning on that for sure.
Yeah, for adoption, it's great. From a decentralization point of view, it's not so great because we basically just have CDFI then, many users, which is great. But if everything gets very, very efficient, the yield will also decrease. So will there really be an incentive to do this stuff on chain in the background?
I think though for decentralization, it's not that big of a deal. It means you have options. That's the key thing with decentralization, right? It's like in the traditional world and Web2 world, you don't have an option. If you want to use Facebook, you want to use your bank, you can't go use, there's nothing else for you to use, right? Whereas, because it's all done behind the scenes. Whereas if I want to use more, I want to give my Bitcoin to Coinbase to lend it out, okay, that's in a centralized app, whatever. But I also have the option to just go use Morpho myself, right? I could go get a MetaMask wallet, connect into Morpho, and use it without Coinbase. So as long as because all of a sudden if Coinbase does something I don't like, I can move my money off, and then I can go and do it in a decentralized way, in a self-custodial way. So I think as long as there's the option, that's what matters. That's what I think matters for crypto. I know there's the people that are like the OGs that are really like, it has to all be decentralized or it doesn't work. I think it's just, you need the option.
Yeah, as long as Coinbase is not a single point of failure for the whole
Right.
of Ethereum.
Yes, agreed. Which them moving to using on-chain apps makes them not a single point of failure. If I had to loan through Coinbase and they were going to do it, they fail, my Bitcoin's gone. What's great here is that's not the case, right? They're actually just they're putting it on chain for me, right? And so it's a kind of a different scenario, which I think a better scenario for how finance is going to go. So for me, it's all eyes on what Coinbase does in the next 6 months. They've basically, the shackles have been taken off. One, this is why I'm so bullish on Coinbase, but it's like they have been stunted. They weren't allowed to do as many things they want to do. And I think they're just ready to just go ham. I'm really, really excited to see what they do, because if they do it, that's going to put pressure on banks, on the fintech companies to just go all in on crypto, because Coinbase in 6 months from now could easily have, on-chain loans. They could have a 12.5% APY for stablecoins. Like, they could do all these things and just be a way better financial product than anything else in the world. And they can enable this globally, right? It's not just the US anymore. And so banks are going to go, holy shit, what's going on here? So I think they couldn't do that without Trump. And so that's what makes me so bullish here on Coinbase and just like adoption, because we need this. And I think Coinbase is going to push that big. So we'll see. But that's where my eyes are at.
Yeah, I think the Coinbase Q4 earnings will go out like in 2 weeks, and then they are gonna surprise everyone. And then the whole Wall Street is like, oh, what the fuck is happening here? And they are all gonna learn what Coinbase is doing. And then like the Coinbase will be just explosive this year. But the attention and the awareness that it brings, like, okay, they are growing so fast because they are using that blockchain technology, it will be just a strong signal. And like for Bitcoin, the most bullish case is like, okay, now the states are really looking into Bitcoin, whether they should start buying it, minting it or not. And that's like the biggest buyer you can have in the world. And for like smart contracts platforms, that's when the companies will start to think about how can we use that smart contract platforms in our benefits. And that's what I hope we are going to see this year. And Coinbase will be just like wake up call for most of them.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's shift to AI agents as our last topic. We basically talk about AI agents in every research meeting, or AI in general. But honestly, it's been a lot of AI agents. Obviously, our portfolio holds some stuff in the AI agent world. If you want to know what that is, you got to go pro and go check it out. Funny, when Trump launched, AI agents got wrecked. Everyone had said like, hey, it's meme coins are now useless and everyone's going to the AI agents. They're the new meta. And then Trump was like, I don't know about that. And so they all dumped, but they've now come back pretty strong. I don't know if you guys have any just overall thoughts on AI agents, how they're coming along. Is there anything that's changed in your mind recently? Is there anything cool that's happened recently? Any thoughts on just AI agents, or how do we want to dive into this?
Well, looking at the prices, again, it's similar to Ethereum. AI16Z, the price just went down. And then you look at the contributors, the GitHub stars, the GitHub forks, and it's just going nuts. So like people are using their framework more, and like so many new forks, and it's just like, okay, there is the framework, and the more people are building on top of that, it's bringing more value, more people, more talent. It's like, yeah, and the price is going like the opposite way. So I know this is still super new, super volatile, but those are the things that people should be looking at, not just the prices and the buzzwords and mindshare. These are the things that matter.
And the winners are not sure right now because, for example, Pippin just released their framework, and they are now offering a framework to launch own agents with extended memory and really new, exciting tech. So development is really, really fast, and there's a lot of competition, which makes the whole space better.
My only thought on AI agents right now is I don't think they are as good as everyone thinks they are. They are very much just a wrapper of ChatGPT at the moment with a little bit of extra training on it. It's not that difficult to do. The real AI agent stuff is going on in the AI world, not the AI crypto world. I think people kind of forget that. Like, we are using like old versions of ChatGPT. It is literally just ChatGPT and a little bit of training on the side of it. It's like what we are doing in AI crypto with these AI agents is not revolutionary by any means. You're going to see AI agents launch from OpenAI and stuff, and they're going to be way better than what we're doing. The only thing exciting about us is you can invest in them, and there's a token alongside of it, and they have a wallet, which is cool that they have a wallet. So you can do a little bit more there. The one thing I would say is like there's a lot of hype. I think that hype probably continues, especially as OpenAI launches their AI agents coming soon. So that's probably going to create a next big buzz and the next leg up for these. I think that's coming in, I don't know if it's this month or next month or whatever.
This month, by the end of this month, Operator should be launched, which can
Yeah.
autonomously do bookings for flights and stuff like that. It's
Right.
not 100% reliable, but very interesting.
Yeah, so the tech is getting better, and I think what is good about that, as that gets better, the virtuals in them can update their code to go and use the new one. So like, it's all gonna continue to get better. The one thought I have is like the big thing that they're doing right now is like they're all influencers, right? They're all tweeting, and that's AI XBT. The biggest one is what has he got, like 400,000 followers now or something like that. And so like that continues to grow. I don't know if that is actually the big thing for AI agents, and I think that actually might by the end of this year go the opposite way. Like right now, every day I go on Twitter and I'm seeing more and more content from AI agents. And right now, people think that's cool. People want to follow these AI agents because it's like something we've never seen before. But a lot of the big accounts are already starting to complain that like they post something and they just get botted by all these AI agents, AXBT, Cerebro, etc. And it's like whatever replies. And I feel like the one reason that humans go on Twitter is to talk with other humans, right? Same with Instagram, etc. And so like it's cool right now to talk to an AI agent. I don't think that's going to remain that cool for much longer, especially as more and more percentage of content is from these AIs. I actually think people are not going to like it. And I think it's just going, I think it's a hype thing right now. I think by the end of the year, either Elon bans it, which I kind of don't think he does because he's a big AI guy, but I think that they try to find a way to filter it. And like there's a way to turn off, like you can't, you can, if you just don't want to interact with AIs, you can. And so I don't know. I kind of think we're going to hit a peak at some point this year, and people aren't actually going to love having a bunch of AIs on our social media. Now, what that means is it doesn't mean AI agents are useless. I just think they're going to do things that are not necessarily on socials. I think it's going to be, if I want to interact with an AI agent, I either turn on a button for my socials to be able to do it, or I go to their interface, right? Like ChatGPT is not on my feed on Twitter, but when I want to use them, I just go to ChatGPT and I log in and I go talk to it. And that's great. And I love that. I kind of think we go back to that at some point. I think we're going to overblow it. So I don't know. Do you guys see the same? And do you think just like these are the next big influencers?
Yeah, we have to go back because it doesn't make sense to have all of these tweeting agents. And basically, they are just doing marketing for the products because there are valuable insights in AI XBT. Right now, it's about 400K US dollars to access the terminal, but they will change this with a tiered subscription. And this is what you really want.
I think so, but I think you're going to want to go and do it at your own time, not covering your feed. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe I think AI agents, the big thing for them is gaming, putting AI agents in games instead of having like if you remember, like, let's say you play Call of Duty or whatever, you do the like campaign where you're playing against the computers. It's the same storyline always. What AI agents will do is change that, where the storyline will be different every single time you play. That to me is like mind blowing. And that I think is going to be huge. People are going to want AI agents in their game rather than just like a normal, what do you call it, like NPC or whatever. So like there is a world where I could see agents being massive. I don't think humans are going to push and want them in their social media. So I think maybe that changes and not goes away, but becomes less. And then of course doing actions on chain, like you said, booking flights and doing all those things, like for sure that's where it's going to be at. And I think AI agents using wallets obviously is a big part of that. Because it's going to be very clunky if they have to use fiat currencies and try to like exchange their dollars into whatever Canadian dollars from US dollars because they want to buy something. Like that's going to be an actual shit show. Whereas that's all solved over here in the blockchain world, so I can see that being a big deal. Do you guys have any predictions or any other thoughts of like how AI is going to be adopted short term? Let's call it 3-6 months.
I think we are gonna see more useful AI agents. Like let's use myself as an example. Okay, I do research. I go on the internet, look at the data, listen to podcasts, read some reports, So because I need to know what's happening. But right now I need to do a lot of this stuff, but my time is limited. My brain is limited, and the only knowledge I have is like, let's say in crypto, I don't really understand that much, maybe AI and like some nuances there. So, I have a lot of limitations, but if I can create someone like me, but using AI agent, which will be just my kind of mirror, then like, why wouldn't you fire me and hire him instead? But you don't need him to pay my salary. You can pay him like 10 times less. So someone is gonna build me, and then you will just kind of subscribe to it and have that access to that knowledge that I'm kind of selling right now. And the thing why we need tokens is because you can not only see the results. So like imagine that all interactions, I can go and see what's going on, what inputs are there. Or like if someone created me and wanna do some changes, and then there are more holders who also like to use me, my agent, they can have a word like, okay, maybe let's try to change this because Martin, his agent, is not good at this particular thing, so we need to improve it here. But they are all collecting the fees because they are selling me to everyone. So I'm in Milk Road, I'm in Blockworks, I'm everywhere. And like that's so think of the specific roles that those agents will be able to replace, and try to build them, and then you can just sell them, and that's what we are
Where do you
going
think
to
the
see.
value accrues? Does the value accrue to the agents that have a token, or does the value accrue to the protocols that create the agents, or is
To
it
the
somewhere
agents,
else?
to the
To the
agents.
agents will be the
Agents
biggest
are
value.
applications. It's the
Or does
same
the
story as
value
applications and layer ones.
does the value accrue to the holders if the agent uses the token as a way to raise capital in order to improve and build the agent in
Well,
the beginning,
that
right?
means what I mean is, does the value accrue to the agent's token, which would be the
Mhm.
holder? Same thing, yeah.
Mhm.
So you think the agents are where the value will accrue rather than the infra?
Yeah.
Adrian,
Yeah.
do you agree?
In the long term, yes. Right now, it might be more the infra.
Yeah, in the early days, because it's so hard, right? So hard to know where value is going to accrue, why it's going to accrue there, etc. So right now, you kind of just play the infra. It's like if Pumped Up Fund had a token, would it be valued more than the meme coins or less?
Less than the big ones, probably.
Yeah.
But like, what's the biggest on Pumped Up Fund?
Good question.
A couple billion,
Probably a
right?
couple
I don't
bill.
think there's anything that's. I don't think there's anything over like 5 billion on Pumped Up Fund. And even Dog with Hat, which is the biggest or bonk on Solana anyway, which isn't Pumped Up Fund, is like what, 3 billion or something. I would
About that.
imagine Pumped Up Fund is valued way more than 3 billion. If it was under 3 billion, I'd be buying the shit out of that. I don't know about you guys. That's kind of why I buy virtuals, because it's kind of the Pumped Up Fund of AI agents. So I don't know. I imagine Pumped Up Fund at a token, it would be valued at a lot more than 3 billion. But
They are funded by Alliance DAO. I think they are typically token investors. So there might be a Pump Fund token in the future.
oh, it's definitely going to come. Although one interesting thing, and I don't think we're gonna have time for it right now, but it's like the best products in crypto today don't have tokens, right? Like Pumped Up Fund is probably the biggest hype, at least of the last year, doesn't have a token. The other biggest hype one, Polymarket, doesn't have a token. The other biggest hype one, Base, doesn't have a token. I don't know if that's
A lot of the best wallets don't have tokens.
right. Yeah. That's interesting to me. And we were having this discussion on Monday because we have more than one research meeting a week. And I actually think, like, I don't know, to me, having a token is a lot of noise for a company. I would hate to have a token, to be honest. I would love, like, if I was building a protocol on chain, I would love to do it without a token, because it's just so much noise and it takes you away from just building your product. You know what I mean? And so, like, I think it's a feature to not have a token, to be completely honest. I think more crypto companies should do this, although I think it's going to go the complete opposite way because of Trump, obviously. But anyway, so interesting. We're kind of undecided on AI. It's either Martin thinks the value accrues to the agents, Adrian, myself included, thinks it goes to the infra.
Infra in the short term, but agents in the long term,
Agents in the long
because
term.
like the companies are gonna hire the agents, not the underlying infra.
Will you even need like a virtuals? Like, it'll be pretty easy in the future, not yet, but in the future, to just launch your own agent, launch your own token, and you don't need any of these
I
protocols.
think it all depends on what the infra offers. So
Yeah.
if you need agent to agent communication is a big thing that nobody has solved yet, right? Like they need to be able to, these agents, as you said, especially right now, like these agents, there's 5 levels of AI agents. We're at like level 3 right now. Even some of them are at level 2. If level 5 is like the smartest, like, you know, can do anything, master mathematician, smartest person in the world type of thing. So like we're not even close to where we're going to get to yet. And once we get there, then these AI agents are going to be smart enough to hire each other. I mean, they already are hiring each other, and they're going to use crypto
I
to
think
pay
that's
each other.
human hand holding that in the background, though. I think that's
Right now it is. Right now it is. Yeah. But a lot of the reason that's human handholding is there is not that communication layer. They cannot communicate with each other in like they're really, when they communicate with each other, they often talk to each other on Twitter, which is kind of cool because then you can go watch it and see it. Right.
We got to build our own social platform for AI agents so that they can get off our platform.
But I think like my view on AI agents is this is very much a case of a new tech where it is if you're investing in this, you're playing the narrative in this cycle. I think you're not playing the tech right now. You're not playing the fundamentals. Throw the fundamentals out the window, throw the tech out the window. This is a narrative play. You need to be actively following attention and mind share, because that is who is going to win here. And that's why the ones that are winning the most are the ones that are on Twitter, because they've got a massive distribution channel. They got 400,000 followers. Like you can't downplay what it means if AIXBT is talking to hundreds of thousands of people every day.
I agree. It's fully a narrative play right now, though I think it's really important to keep an eye on the background of like fundamentally what is actually happening and what's just gimmicks, because the adoption, or not the adoption, but the improvement of this technology is going to be way faster than any technology we've ever seen previously. And so like there's a world where in 1 year from now, like the fundamentals have caught up. And these things are starting to do something crazy, which would like line up with the potential bear market, right? And so it's like, it's anyone's world on what happens here. I mean, look, Trump just got together with Sam Altman and announced the Stargate project, $500 billion going into AI infrastructure in the US, 100 billion starting today, right? So like this stuff is going to go fast. Now, I don't know if it'll be a year, but it'll go faster than any other technology we've seen. And so will the crypto side of that go as fast? I'm not sure. But things will change really fast in the space. And so it is like, it's one of those things where you need to keep your eyes on it a lot. You can't just like, play a narrative and leave it. It's like, you actually do really need to track what's happening behind the scenes, because it's fast. It's going to be really fast.
And most likely the top AI agent coin of this cycle is not even exist yet. Hasn't even launched. Like I would bet on that.
Agreed. Both agent and probably infra too. Like, I don't know.
I'm
excited about
infra feels a little bit, I don't know. I think virtuals and AI 16s that have a good lead right now. I don't know. In this cycle, in this year, long term, fully agree. Could be something else. This year though, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, MoMates launched recently. They launched their token, and you mentioned AI for gaming, and that's really their focus, right? Is like AI agents for gaming. So, but there's it's so much space, right? Like
so much space.
There's going to be AI agent for there's going to be more AI agents than there are humans in the world eventually, and it's not.
Oh yeah,
that's probably not that far away. So,
and they will use the blockchain.
They will.
How do you guys wrap this meeting? Do you guys like do a team high five, or do we all drink a glass of milk? Or
honestly, we usually talk for so long that we're like, shit, I got to go to another meeting, and I end up peeling out. So that's usually how it goes. Sometimes we discuss if we're going to make any changes to our portfolio, but we just made a bunch of big changes last week, so we know we're not touching it for a little while. That's about it. Hopefully everyone enjoyed our boring, nerdy conversation that we have every Wednesday. But
please let us know. Comment in the chat, guys. Everybody listening and watching, we appreciate you. Let us know. Did you enjoy this style? Like, this is a longer format, different format than we typically do. Do you want us to continue doing it? Let us know what you guys think. And thanks for listening in, everybody. We'll put a link in the show notes to GoPro, obviously, if you want access to the portfolio and to more behind the scenes, or if you guys want to talk to these three every day, you can do so. If you go pro and you enter the Discord community, you can ask them questions every day. Thanks for listening in, everybody. Have a wicked awesome day.
See you guys.
Bye.
As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your number one resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note, this show is for educational purposes only and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.